Welcome to the Aether Raids. First impressions and tips for you guys. If you're just tuning in or if you're new to the channel, quick introduction on me. I'm Akariss, tier 21 player in Arena, top 1k in Arena Assault, both free to play and invested into the game. I manage 2 accounts. There is a good Twitch community with me as well who are watching and talking in the chat below. Those guys can say hello as they will. It's first day of Aether Raids and I went through the mode a little bit to kind of look at what you should and shouldn't do. So overall, I'm very impressed with the mode and I think overall the reception is pretty good. I would definitely encourage you to try it out and have fun with the mode. Even if you don't take it seriously, it is actually fun. And that may not have been the case for a while in Fire Emblem Heroes. So thumbs up so far about it. Beyond just the rewards, it's looking pretty good. So let's delve into some things here that you may feel overwhelmed by the mode. I'm going to make a more offensive guide and an Aether Castle defense guides later. Look forward to those videos in the future if you want to take this mode more seriously, but this will strictly focus on just some quick tips and what you should and shouldn't do jumping into the mode. So first of all, recognize that there is a bonus hero system similar to Arena, but it's not as important as it is in Arena. You can pretty much just lug around your bonus hero, and it seems like the options are pretty good. You know, like there are no 5-star locked bonus heroes yet other than the new heroes, and that's to be expected. So you got like Tenata, the GHB units, and 2 free units so far, and there's a legendary hero here. If you look at the next week, they actually let you do that as well. It shows you similar things there. You have your legendary hero, the new heroes of course, up there, 5 of them, and legendary Erica, plus the free units here, GHB units. Availability is pretty spot on for bonus units, and you don't have to use them other than just lugging them around and giving you extra score. You must bring one though. And this is very important as well, bonus structures. Okay, so when attacking, you want to make sure that you have a bonus structure. And the reason this is so important is because it levels up the fortress offense building. And we're going to jump into that. I'm going to jump into my keep and show you exactly what that is, because it's one of the most important buildings when attacking. Basically, it compares your offensive structure with the enemy defensive structure. And if you have a higher level offensive structure than the enemy, you get yourself 4 extra stats for every difference. So if you have an offensive structure fortress that's 1 level higher, you get 4 to all stats to your whole team. And that's huge. It's going to make a huge difference. And then on the other hand, if they have a fortress defensive structure and yours is lower, then you're going to be having a stat gap there. It'll be fighting like abyssals or something. So very important, and once you do have the opportunity, you're going to probably want to upgrade that or make sure you have a bonus structure. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is how do you want to use these resources that are given to you right away. So I'm not going to talk about that just yet. First, I want to look at the actual mechanics of fighting. That's kind of important. So the first season is going to be 10 days, but every recurring season will be a week after. I believe it'll be on Mondays rather than Tuesdays like Arena has been, or the end of Mondays. They end in a different time span, so you don't have to feel rushed to do both at the same time. The score in this mode is called Lift. And Lift gets higher as you play more, and your combat is based on surviving. You want every unit on yours to survive, and you want to get as many kills as you can. So kind of like Arena, survival is important, and kills are also important. Aether is the stamina up here. Aether is the stamina in this mode, so you can only play it a certain amount of times per day, and it does depend on your rank so far from what we've seen, what your tier is. It seems to be about 17 Aether for me, and I'm at tier 2. I played it a couple times. Essentially, you don't have to play it like grindlessly or even play it and spend all your stamina in a day, because you only get a certain amount of Aether per day, and that's what this fountain is at the top left. You get 50 Aether per day. You can obviously upgrade this hopefully in the future, and yeah, just you don't have to use all of it in one day. You can maybe take a break in a day and not feel obligated to play it. On the other hand, there's also this Aether storage, and I highly recommend upgrading that as well as soon as you can, because at the beginning of a season, you get 150 Aether if you have more, and most people start with 100. So you'll get more matches, which can raise your higher potential score at the beginning of a season. There is a reason to play every day, even if you don't use all your ether, or you use it all, and that's because your first battle every day is free, so you're not wasting ether. And second, you want to maybe accumulate these rewards down here. So you only need to play 5 of the 7 days in a week season to get all the rewards. But the third one is really good, which is the Grails, which are used to summon your GHB units. And yeah, it's pretty good. Now, the buildings themselves, and like I've already mentioned, the most important things that I recommend you guys build is going to be this Aether upgrade, the Aether Amphorae, and it doesn't show yet, and that's the Aether Fountain, along with the Fortress on Offense. These are going to be the most important buildings to build. The stones themselves are used to upgrade random buildings, and at this time, if you're not certain how to totally master the mode or what buildings really help out, I don't really recommend building too many of them. Don't just build every single one and then throw them on your map, because some are probably going to be a lot better than others strategically. They're going to help certain players more than others, and of course you're going to want to maybe have an upgraded version of one of these during a specific bonus week. So for example, this week is a bolt tower, and to be honest, I don't find the bolt tower too useful, so I'm glad they gave it for us for free. And maybe you want to stock up on some stones and upgrade a more important building. For example, if you see yourself playing with infantries all the time, infantry units or flyers, then maybe you're going to want to build that and then upgrade it to give yourself an advantage. And that advantage could definitely pay off because of all the stats that happen. The schools, though, do actually work opposite of what I've said, which is inflicting that debuff on others. So if you find yourself having trouble against armors, you want to build the armor school. If you find yourself having trouble against infantry, build the infantry school. On the other hand, defense buildings are not as important, and I'll tell you why. Not yet. So if you go into the defense results, you don't lose lift yet. It says lift 0. You start losing lift once you're over 4K. So once you're over the score of 4K, you can start losing lift for losses. And this can happen, I believe, it's not like you just keep losing and losing lift. There is a limit to it, but essentially you're going to start worrying about defense once you reach the 4,000 score. So at this time, if you don't see yourself at that score or you're not pushing it yet, don't worry too much about defense buildings and wait until we've kind of seen what works, what sort of strategies work on defense, and what you can upgrade there that helps your defense team work. Okay. Last thing I want to go over is you do need to build some of these to upgrade the fortress and to upgrade the Aether Amphorae, because they use a different currency, which is the dew. So you get the dew by spending the stones, similar to how the weapon refinery works. You spend refining stones, you get divine dew. So you're going to have to commit eventually to something, but you might want to make that commitment all at once so you have a better idea of what's going on. For the time being, focus on trying to upgrade this so it gives you an advantage at the beginning of the season, and try to upgrade the offense version of the fortress so you don't find yourself at a stat disadvantage. Finally, when creating your defense team, your defense map, traps, the first level of the traps are given for free. There's going to be 2 false traps and 2 regular traps, as you guys can see here. They don't cost anything, so just put them on your map and have fun with them. Okay, so I hope that clears up a little bit of a quick review of the mechanics of the mode. There's some more things we have to consider, which is in the battle, and thank you Intelligent Systems for actually letting us testing the mode. So I'm gonna go in here with my flyer team. Make sure when you're fighting you do choose a bonus unit. When fighting, you have a 7-turn limit, and the enemy doesn't move unless you bait them out. So don't wait for them to come. This is unlike Arena where they come to you. You need to play aggressively, which means you do want to have some sort of mix of enemy phase and player phase units. While fighting, it is imperative that you do not lose your units and that you kill all enemy units. But do not kill all enemy units until you've killed these specific structures in the corner. So as you can see, there's an Aether Fountain in the top left and an Aether amphora in the top right. If you kill these structures, you get additional ether for winning the match. And this ether can add up and give you more matches in total, which gives you additional score by the end of the season. So if you're trying to climb the ranks, you're trying to get higher tiers and lift, make sure your goal is to take out these structures, these two specific ones, before taking out all enemy units. So there is that objective-based combat. This is my defense team. Essentially, I got some traps. I know how my own traps function. I've created a choke point, and I feel like this map really helps out the defense team. So
big and strong.
Let's jump into it and have Corrin enemy phase Tharja. I didn't even, I think that was a false trap. I didn't even like math this out. I'm just gonna like YOLO it just to give you an idea of how the gameplay functions. You need to bait out.
Let's do our best.
So we got restore and Lisa's healing up her. So yeah, we're fine because of blade tomes. Even on a defense tile, Tharja's not that oppressive. Weapon triangle is still a very important thing.
Certainly.
So as you see here, we really do have to take out these structures. We can't just commit to killing all enemy units.
Big and strong. Care to play?
My Hector's very annoying.
Certainly.
Aversa survives this, so we're just going to dance her and get the kill on Myr. When creating your offense teams, it's very important that you consider things that are like not Lisa, but dazzle healers. You consider that enemies can use anything. They don't have to use double rallies. Their units may not be merged. They can use level 1 units as well. The limitations from Arena and this mode are significantly different. Like you don't have to have merge units, you don't have to be using double rallies, you don't have to use Aether, you don't have to use Gale Force for max score or any of that kind of stuff. And it means that don't walk in here with max BST units and max scoring skills because that might not help you. Consider your team as you would a PvE map. Repositions, proper special usages, a good team comp that can handle mixed situations. One of the advantages of actually going into a match, which I can't show right now, is you can choose from 5 raiding parties. So if you go into the allies menu, which I'll show after this,
Best wishes.
she should survive, Lisa, yeah. So we have to go for the building, as you guys saw. That's a very important thing to consider. Traps, when activated, stop the action of the character that stands on it. So I just tried to dance Aversa there, and I didn't get the chance to dance her because I hit the trap.
Who dies first?
So we still have to commit to breaking the buildings before we kill Lisa.
Yes.
Let's make sure Lisa doesn't do any damage to my units.
So big and strong.
She does a little bit of damage to Azura, that's fine. As long as she doesn't kill next turn. So very important, you look at the turn limit, there's only 2 turns left.
Certainly. Best wishes. I hope your new year is full of wonder.
As I mentioned, treat this mode as you would a PvE map or Abyssals. And walk in with your best units. Consider your counter picks as well. So maybe create 5 teams, one that's a flyer team, one that's maybe an armor team, your best team, infantry teams, infantry pulse teams, whatever you can muster that you think will lead you to victory.
So big and strong. Let's celebrate.
Having the element of counterpick is very important for success. So like I showed you, when you click test defenses, you have yourself up to 5 options. So I got like my Niles team, my flyer team, my cavalry team, my another infantry team, and an armor team. So when you get to actually preview the enemy, you can check the map, you can check their defenses, and you can counterpick to an element, like a degree there. So it's less random than Arena is, and as long as you have maybe some teams that can handle most situations, then you will succeed. To access that menu, just go into Allies, Edit Special Teams, and you'll see it here, Edit Raiding Party. The raiding party doesn't lock in seals, and you have to make sure that you have the right stuff. I recommend using the skill sets option for that, which is here, change equipment, edit equip skill sets. So if I went to a Versa, then I'm going to create, a different skill set for her here, which I'll do at another time. One last thing I wanted to go over was your actual defense team. We'll go into more depth on what works and what doesn't, but your defense team can actually have locked in skills and seals. So for example, regardless of whether I take off quick riposte on Tharja here, she's going to have quick riposte whenever you're fighting against her. Later on, we're going to be having more unit slots on the enemy team. So up to six units. Sorry, not 6 teams, but 6 units on our defense team and 5 on the offense team. So the meta will drastically change as you're able to really create some really crazy team comps that way. Maybe mixed team comps, even more explosive infantry pulse teams. And as you saw here, there is a defense lift loss. This is only once you pass the 4K lift score. Okay, so I hope that summarized everything, maybe to get you started into Aether Raids. TLDR, don't spend your stones. Don't spend your stones or do yet. And try to play every day, but don't feel obligated to spend all your ether in one day. Just play like once a day and maybe spend just enough that the restore doesn't overflow. Enjoy the mode for what it is while people are still figuring it out, as we don't really know what a good meta setup is yet, whether that's for offense or defense. Use what works best for you, and yeah, enjoy it. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. Look forward to more guides in the future, more specifically tailored to offense and defense, and maybe some of the best matches or replays that I can find. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and see you next time. Peace.